Oh yeah, this next person coming to stage is a good friend of mine. I have seen her in the metaverse do many, many, many comedy shows. We became friends early on. The first time I ever started doing comedy, I was like, "This bitch is my fucking bitch right here. I love this girl." Give it up for Windmajik and her weed titties.
How is everybody today?
Great.
Doing
Good.
Okay.
So I don't know about in the UK, but here in the States they have like awareness months. So they make like, 1 month will be, awareness for something. Well, April happens to be Autism Awareness Month. And I just want to know who decided to kick off Autism Awareness Month on the month that also has April Fool's Day in it. Like,
Yeah. Good point.
there's got to be a special place in hell. Is it so that everybody will be aware of who the autistics are? Because all day long we walk around going, really? That actually happened? No, April Fools. I can't tell you how many times I heard April Fools today. Anyway, I was thinking, though, about the Bible. I work in a church. I'm not religious. But every now and then I start thinking about the Bible and all the stories that are in it. And there's some pretty good stories, but it's very poorly written and very poorly thought out. Because if you think about it, Adam and Eve, they were the first man, first woman. Supposedly, God grabbed up a lump of clay, made a Gumby Adam out of clay, grabbed a rib out of his Gumby Adam, and threw it in Eve. And they were full-grown human adults. And you assume that they have all the, they were in the Garden of Paradise. They were eating apples and such. Which one was the first one that shit? And what the fuck did they think was happening? These are the thoughts that I have. Has anybody ever queefed during sex?
Yep.
You know what a
That's
queef,
what
I don't
you're
know
saying.
if it translates the same in the UK. What would it be?
Yeah.
A pussy fart,
Yeah.
basically. So there I am one night. I'm having sex with a guy, and he flips me over one way, and then he flips me over another way, and he's pounding away. And he wasn't very well endowed. He had been bragging up to this point all night about his 8 inches of dick, 8 inches of dick, 8 inches, 3 inches of dick, 3 inches of dick.
Oh, no.
And he's like putting my legs up over the back of my head, and and he's pounded away really, really hard. And then he breaks the cardinal rule. You don't do that and then go down. You go down and then you go up but he went down after doing all this and getting me into all these weird positions. And he's down there and a little tiny just comes out. I couldn't help it. He filled me with, he was promising 8 inches, and he filled me with, 3 inches of dick and 5 inches of air. What the fuck did he think was going to happen? I felt like a bag of Lay's potato chips. He promised family size. I opened that bag, and it was, all air. And a couple little chips down at the bottom. It was really a disappointment. And he acted offended. I should have been offended. But I shouldn't complain. I can't really be picky because I'm kind of really fucking ugly. I'm uglier than a bag of smashed assholes. And I knew it the first time when a guy was we were having sex, and he's like, I want to fuck your ass. And I was like, okay. And he spat on his hand and smeared it across my face and shoved it in my mouth.
Yeah.
That wasn't my asshole. But I also, I get distracted during sex. I mean, the last guy I was with, I was riding him and I was done and he wasn't, which was very unusual. And I was trying for number 2 and I just wasn't getting there. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what, all these different thoughts. And then finally I just got up and I walked out into our living room and I started scrolling on my phone. And he comes out and he says, what the fuck are you doing? I said, I was looking at my phone. We were having sex. Oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot. How could you forget that you're having sex while you're having sex? I said, well, I remembered something in my shopping cart that I needed. And he's like, what? What is so important? A vibrator?
Oh, damn.
That is something you come to next day deliverer.
But I'm single now. I mean, I'm single.
hysteria.
I've been single. I've been single for quite a while, like 4 years. And I go to the gynecologist, and it was the best date I'd had in a while. Gynecologist says to me, I got to do an ultrasound. Well, I'm old. I'm 54. And back in the day, you got an ultrasound, and it was like a wand, and they squeezed some jelly on your belly, and they moved it around. No, this thing goes up inside you now. Yeah. I didn't even bring a bottle of wine. So when I was leaving, I made an appointment for the following week. But they kicked me out when I ran my hands through her hair. And when you reach middle age too, you never know when you're and you've got ADHD, and you never know, like, when you're in the middle of a blowjob sometimes, and you find yourself in the middle of an existential crisis, and you start wondering, like, how, as you're like bobbing up and down, trying to stop your teeth from dragging, and your mouth is getting sore and your jaw is getting sore, and then you start wondering, like, how is it that every decision I ever made in my entire life brought me to this moment where I'm on my knees in front of a sofa, in front of a guy, bobbing my head up and down, giving him a blowjob. Those kind of thoughts actually do start happening, and it's not good. But I would recommend to ladies to keep up on your blowjob game. Really,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
keep up on it, because I gotta tell you,
I can't.
pussies do not age well.
Live show.
I mean, when you're 25, if there's anybody in here now that's 25, look in the mirror for a long time, because you will never again in your life look as good as you look right now. It is true. And look at your pussy, because it will never look as good as it looks now.
It's not just
50-plus-year-old pussies do not look really attractive. And now when, you remove all the pubic hair, I almost think that there should be a rule that you keep that shit covered up. Because the last time I looked, it was like, it looked like a bat cave, and there were stalagmites hanging down. And I was scared. I was looking with a mirror. I dropped the fucking mirror. It smashed all over the floor. I got 7 years bad luck. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to masturbate now. I'm afraid that little bat's gonna come out and give me rabies or some shit. But your blowjob game, as you get older, if you can't, nobody wants to enter down there. It doesn't matter. You still got a hand. They still do the job. But your blowjob game, you lose your teeth, you don't have to worry about dragging you. You get osteoporosis, arthritic, you're all hunched over, you're already in the right position. You don't have to worry about fucking up your knees anymore that have probably already been replaced. And if you get Parkinson's, You get a little tiny shake going on and stuff.
Oh,
All that much better.
Oh my God.
All that much better. So that was all I really had prepared tonight, but I did kind of want to tell a little story about my very first heartbreak. And this my mother, it's about my mom. May she rest in peace. She wasn't real bright, and I kind of think that there were signs along the way that, autism and stuff is genetic, because my mom, the first guy I was ever really serious about, I was 16 years old, and I wasn't really interested in sex yet or anything, and he was so respectful. He never pressured me for sex. He would help me pick out my clothes, though. We always went to nice places, and he would help me with my makeup. He would suggest ways to wear my hair. You see where I'm going here? I walk in on him one day. I get to his house early, and he's on his knees in front of his best friend, giving him a blowjob. My little heart was broken. I go home. I'm all upset. My mother's pressuring me, and she's to tell her what's wrong, and I don't want to tell my mom. Finally, I'm like, I walked in on Craig and Brent. And she's like, what do you mean you walked in on him? You were going over to his house. No, Mom, I walked in on them. So what do you mean? I said, I walked in on them. Brent's penis was in Craig's mouth. And my mother looked at me and she said, did he fall? I don't know what happened or didn't happen in my mother's life that was her first reaction, because of all the times in my life I've fallen, never once did I land with a dick in my mouth. That's my time. Have a good night, all.
Yeah.